As an attorney, I've been contacted by people who have observed serious illegal conduct. Sometimes we call these people whistleblowers when they report that conduct. This conduct includes sexual assault, misuse of financial resources, fraud on the government, and other serious crimes and illegal conduct. If you are a whistleblower or thinking about becoming one, you are probably thinking about all of the risk associated with you coming forward. The good news is there are many whistleblower statutes that can protect you, so it's worth identifying which whistleblower statutes are available in your area, whether it's federal government or state government, that gives you some rights. But let's face it, even if you have legal rights, it doesn't mean somebody won't trample those rights or attack you in the media or on social media, defame your name, or ruin your reputation. And so even though you have legal rights, there are some other practical considerations. First, it's important to document everything. Now, sometimes you can't do that on a business device like a business laptop or business phone, so you'll want to use a personal device. Maybe it's a personal recording device. But if you're going to record conversations without letting others in the conversation know, double check your state laws on that. Many states, like Minnesota, allow you to record your own conversations even though the others don't know that you're recording. However, in other states, all parties to a conversation have to be aware of the recording. So that is an area where you can contact an attorney aware in your state, or you can look online and see what are the surreptitious recording laws in your state. When you decide to report illegal conduct, you have to decide who are you going to report it to. Do you report it to management in your company? Maybe an HR director? Perhaps you decide to report it to some influential shareholder that you know, or the board of directors, or the attorney representing the company. Or maybe you decide to go outside the company and go to the government or go to the media. These are tough decisions. One thing to keep in mind is if you don't report it within the company, often you are not protected by whistleblower statutes. The whistleblower statutes generally provide you protection from retaliation from the company after you've reported illegal activity within the company. But if you go report that to the media, you may not enjoy the benefits of the protection provided by the whistleblower statute. Now, you may be able to report it to the government, and that is a question for an attorney who takes the time to understand the circumstances of your issue. You might consider reporting this to HR or the attorney representing the company. But keep in mind, HR in your company and the attorney both represent the company, and they may have a fairly close relationship with management. And if management is the problem, if this is some sort of sexual misconduct or some other sort of action that HR or the attorney might be turning a blind eye to, maybe it's not prudent to reach out to the attorney or HR. This usually involves a very careful analysis by both the person intending to be the whistleblower and that person's trusted advisors, which may include an attorney knowledgeable in whistleblower law. One practical option is to consider whether you can report this anonymously. That can be a valuable way to protect you from getting retaliation. However, keep in mind, if you do that, whoever the person is who's getting reported for misconduct is likely to go to extensive research to figure out who reported this. They're not going to be happy. And if you report anonymously, you may not be protected by the whistleblower statute. As you consider gathering evidence, keep in mind that you should do it legally. Hacking into a computer or unauthorized computer access could expose you to criminal charges and a lawsuit from the company against you for the wrongful act of accessing data that you weren't supposed to access or taking something off the property. So that's an important question, again, for you to discuss with an attorney. If you are considering reporting misconduct and being a whistleblower, keep in mind that it can take a significant toll on a person mentally and emotionally. You may want to meet with a counselor, a psychiatrist or psychologist, somebody who is trained in helping whistleblowers deal with the extraordinary psychological stress associated with blowing the whistle. Because not only is it what you're going through at the time, but typically for years afterwards, you will be dealing with the fallout. You might be called as a witness in some sort of investigation or legal action. You might be dealing with retaliation from those who didn't appreciate that you reported them. And you might deal with retaliation from others in your community who don't have all the facts and come to conclusions that are improper, that somehow you did something wrong. Practically speaking, being a whistleblower can have a very significant hit on your short-term finances. You may lose a job, you might have to hire an attorney. It can really be challenging. And so thinking through just the practical consequences of that are important considerations. It may be true that you can sue and recover some of your losses as a whistleblower. You might even get a lot more than just covering your losses under the whistleblower statute, but that often is years down the road. And in the meantime, it can be a significant financial strain to not have an income, have to pay for an attorney, and be dealing with all of the issues you're facing as a witness to illegal conduct. So what are common mistakes whistleblowers make? Failing to document evidence, failing to report the information inside the company, which is often essential to preserve your rights as a whistleblower, publicly disclosing information before the appropriate time, not consulting with an attorney who can help you understand your legal rights and responsibilities, gathering evidence illegally, like taking information or data that you're not authorized to take, acting on emotion rather than strategically, intellectually, and professionally, underestimating the emotional toll that this can take and the time that it can take. Often it can take years, and it feels like you are brought right back into the crisis and dealing with the trauma again every time you are subject to a deposition, an inquiry from an investigator, or having to be a witness in court. Finally, you might consider what your legal responsibility is and whether you might have liability here. Often people who are aware of a situation and don't do something to mitigate the harm, to stop the problem, or timely report it, might have some liability. That's an important question for you to discuss with your attorney. Being a whistleblower is often a defender of many victims. I believe you are a hero. You are standing up for what's right. You are exposing what's wrong. But when you do that, there are significant consequences. Maybe not legal consequences, but many practical consequences. I have great esteem and appreciation for those who are willing to be whistleblowers. But I also encourage you to consult with experts who understand what it's like, can evaluate your circumstances, and can do their best to set you up for success and not allow you to be a traumatized victim from the whole experience of being a whistleblower. I'm Aaron Hall. I'm an attorney. I represent business owners, companies, whistleblowers, and executives. I deal with these sorts of issues all the time on both sides, and I do these free educational videos to help educate the public so you can understand what your rights are and identify the issues to discuss with your attorney.